4 days already since I was shipwrecked on a desert island situated somewhere off the coast of South America. But this is only a supposition. The ship's hulk is aground a few cable lengths from the shore. My dog, Dick, seems extremely happy to find himself on solid ground again. Along with my goat, that makes 2 companions on whose friendship I may count. I don't feel quite so alone with these little friends. I confess, I need their company. The solitude is more and more difficult to bear, and I've only been on this island for 4 days. What will happen to me after 4 weeks? 4 months? Fortunately, I haven't the time to think about it. I've got to hurry to unload the wreck before it breaks up, which is bound to happen due to the tide and strong currents. I make trip after trip. I tremble every time I set foot on the ship. If it drifts off and sinks while I'm inside, I stand a good chance of being drowned. Every time I carry gold on me, I first meet with bad luck, and then with good luck. First in England, some bandits wanted to kill me for my gold. Then Captain Derrick saved my life and allowed me to make my first voyage. With the gold of Kazir, whose slave I was, I almost died of thirst when I was lost on the ocean. Then I was saved by a Portuguese ship, which took me to Brazil, where I became rich and happy. With that gold, I've just had a great misfortune. I was shipwrecked on a desert island. If fate follows its usual course, it owes me great happiness now. I'm keeping the gold. At any rate, my luck couldn't get worse. Dick prefers to wait for me on the shore. He's permanently disgusted with sailing. My last trip to the wreck. I find a piece of the hull with a few letters of the name of the ship, the Esmeralda. I treasure all links with the outside world, from which I may be separated forever. I'm positive I haven't left a bit of string, a scrap of sail, or even a nail on the Esmeralda. I took apart and carried away everything I could. Not a moment too soon. I have no chance of getting off my island on my own. My raft can't be steered, and I would be at the mercy of the winds and the currents. And even if I had a boat, what course would I take? The ship's sexton disappeared in the storm. I have no way of plotting the position of my island. My camp is now cluttered with all sorts of objects. I'll set things in order a little later. I also have to find a safe shelter for the gunpowder and the stores. The thatched roof is only protection from the sun. It may be carried away by the first strong wind. My head swims when I think of all I still have to do. Maybe it's hunger. I'll try hunting. I hope the guns haven't been ruined by the rough treatment they had during the shipwreck. Let's go try it right away. Is this bird edible? Are there poisonous birds, like poisonous mushrooms? Dick doesn't think so. He's quite ready to devour the bird. An Englishman, above all, likes his comfort. After several nights on the branch of a baobab tree, then on the bare ground, I deserve a good bed. I think I've found a practical way of lighting my fire. After trying to make a fire by friction and with a flint, and after discovering that the first gives no results and the second requires hard work, I'm going to experiment with my newest discovery, fire by explosion. There's an efficient method. Since my stock of gunpowder is almost inexhaustible, I'll stick to this method from now on. I have enough trouble surviving on my desert island. It would be childish to create difficulties just for the pleasure of it. I'm going to make my first attempt at cooking, and I'm doubtful about the results. We English are not very gifted for cooking. We leave that to the French. We have, thank God, enough qualities to be able to get along without that one, if it is one. As for Dick, he doesn't seem to have any doubts at all. For him, a roasted bird is always good, no matter what the cook's nationality. And I still don't know if this bird is good to eat. Since there's only one way of finding out, here goes. Well, it's not so bad. Non-poisonous is another question. Well, Dick is eating gluttonously, and I assume that animals have a native instinct which makes them reject poisonous food. Just in case the flesh of this bird is poisonous, I think it would be wise to drink a glass of brandy as an antidote. My head is swimming. Is it the alcohol or the poison? Oh, it's the alcohol. Dick, who didn't drink any, seems as lively as ever. But I'd like to be sure. No use. If I'm poisoned, it's already too late. I believe it's fatigue that's making my head swim. This evening, my solitude weighs more heavily on me than ever. It's wiser not to overdo the antidote. Above all, when there's no proof that one is poisoned. I've experienced so much since my arrival on the island that it would be better for me to go to bed right away. That's the best thing to do when your head is spinning. As when I made my first voyage. I had come to the port of Hull mainly to meet Willie, a childhood friend. He was already sailing. The very evening his ship got back to port, I was lucky enough to meet him.
Willie!
Robinson! What are you doing here, huh?
I left my father and I want to go to sea.
Yeah, why don't you come with me? I'm going to London on my uncle's schooner. It won't cost you a penny.
You think he'll let me go too?
Well, if he suspects you've just run away from home, he won't. Too bad you're not a seaman. My uncle assembled his crew yesterday at the last minute, and he'd have taken you on.
Yes, but I'm not a seaman, alas.
No, but... well, you could try to pretend.
But how?
Dress like one.
When are you sailing?
Tomorrow.
At last, I felt a ship under my feet. The world was mine. Alas, my stomach refused to share my joy. I was abominably ill.
Well, if you're trying to be conspicuous, you've succeeded. I told you to stay out of sight. Why did you have to go walking on the bridge and right under my uncle's nose? I had to explain what you're doing on board. He's furious. He's decided to put you ashore at our next port.
He's right. He's a wonderful man.
What's the matter?
Oh, I don't feel well. It's on account of this horrible rough weather.
What horrible rough weather. This is just a little breeze. We're hardly out of port. What will you say when we're on the open sea? I'll tell them to bring you some food.
Oh, no. Oh, don't speak to me about food.
My poor Robinson. He'll never be a sailor.
Destiny was overwhelming me. Setting out to conquer the world, I wasn't vanquished either by whales, or by pirates, or by storms, but by seasickness. All my dreams of adventure were transformed into one wish, to be back on solid ground. And all my ambitions were quickly swept away by a solemn vow never to sail again. Nevertheless, as soon as I disembarked, the sarcasm of the sailors reawakened my pride.
Hey, Miss Robinson! Go back to your mother!
I had to prove that I was a man and a sailor. I think I would have been capable of going right back to sea for no other reason than to silence their insolence. Just the same, I deemed it wiser to return to solid ground and to go back to my inn.
Will that be all? His Excellency doesn't require anything else for his comfort.
No, Anne. That's all for the moment.
His Excellency need only call. And for you, Captain.
Ah, at last, they're willing to look after me. I'm hungry, my pet.
I'll serve you right away. And your departure? I heard you might be setting sail today.
Today or tomorrow, depends on the wind. It's almost as fickle as a young girl. You expect it to be on time, and it forces you to wait for hours.
Oh, yes. Oh!
When are you starting out, Captain?
I'll know in a few hours. How old are you?
18, sir. My name is Crusoe. Robinson Crusoe, from York. And where are you heading for?
The usual route. Guinea.
Guinea? The Ivory Coast?
Hmm?
Will you take me, Captain?
Are you really so anxious to leave tomorrow?
I can pay for my passage.
To Guinea?
You bring me some wine, Anne.
Yes, Captain.
Look. I've got money.
Can you play that somewhere else?
If my music doesn't please you, Captain.
I don't run a ship for my pleasure, my young friend. But let me give you some advice. I wouldn't go showing off my money like that. Many a man has been found with a knife in his back for less than that. It would be a real pity. So young. And now that's enough. I want to eat in peace.
Forgive me. I didn't intend to bother you during your meal. And a goblet of rum, and the best.
She was pretty, that little servant. When I left, her eyes were sad. But I refused to pay any attention to it. I only thought of leaving.